final race of the day and final race of our opening live stream for 2021. Thanks, of course, to everybody at Queensland Production Cars for season 2021. Twilight race to finish the day. You'll see we've got the light towers switched on, ready to go. Thanks, of course, to motorsportsales.com.au. Also Corona Cabinets, Be Tuned, and Ultimate Diesel Tuning. So Barrick Linton will start out of pole position in the Linton Body Shop BMW M3. Alongside him, the Chalgrove Contracting BMW of Stephen Ellery. Gary Beggs and the Big Holden Commodore will start out of position number 3 with the Symes Coaches Mitsubishi Evo of Greg Symes from position 4. From position 5, we've got Robert Gooley in the Ultimate Diesel Tuning Mitsubishi Evo 10. Alongside him, the Grand Prix Mazda 3 MPS of Jake Camilleri. Then we've got Mitch Madron in the first of the Toyota 86s, Andrew Wilton in the 86 shop Toyota 86, John Harris in the Harris Racing Mitsubishi Evo 10 from position 9, James Hayes Volkswagen Scirocco from position 10, Spalding, Homer, Paul Bacchini, Carly Bacchini, and we are away. BMW's at the front of the field. Tip into turn 1, Ellery backs off slightly to follow Barrick Linton into turn 1 and then on to turn 2. Fantastic start from Greg Symes, who jump up into third place behind the BMWs. But Gary Beggs blasts past the horsepower of the Commodore a little bit too much for the Mitsubishi Evo on the run up the back straight, so Beggs into third place. Symes holding fourth ahead of Gooley, then Camilleri in the Grand Prix Mazda Turbo. Then we've got Harris, who's launched strongly in the all-white Harris Racing Mitsubishi Evo. Carl Begg, who's come from rear of grid, is storming his way up through the field in the B-tuned BMW M4. He's moving up to attack James Hayes Scirocco. He's already through the Toyota 86s. Race leaders coming around turn 6. Linton, followed by Ellery, which has been pretty much the way they've run all weekend. At least on the results at the end of the day. Carl Beggs moving up to, John Harris, I should say, was moving up to attack. And Carl Begg as well, 3 wide into turn 1. Oh my goodness me. Carl Begg, John Harris and Jake Camilleri side by side all together into turn 1. Beggs not mucking around at all. The B-tuned M4 is minimising the damage from his rear of grid start to try and catch those flying M3s at the front of the field of Linton and Ellery. You see Harris there in the all-white Mitsubishi has gotten past the blue Mazda of Camilleri, followed by Hay there in the blue Scirocco. The rest of the field sorting themselves out. Down at the tail of the field we see the Class E being led by Damien Drew, the birthday boy actually. We move back towards the front of the field and there's Carl Begg storming past Greg Symes. This is for 4th place. So Carl Begg's having a magnificent run right at the moment on this opening lap of the race. Not mucking around at all. Can't really get a... So at the end of the second lap, Barrick Linton is at a 120.43, Steve Ellery a 120.49, Carl Begg a 120.19. And in between them is Gary Beggs' Commodore, a 122.39. So Beggs won't be able to keep Carl Begg behind him for long. We see that brake disc glow of the leading BMW M3, Ellery, sorry, of Linton, followed by Ellery. Now they come across the stripe, Linton followed by Ellery. Gary Beggs was not able to hold back Carl Begg at all. Begg is into third place. A 1:19.8. Carl Begg is flying. He wants the win in this race. He wants it badly after Linton having won the first two races of the day. There was Gourley and Harris fighting for position 6 just briefly on camera. We go back to look at Carl Begg. He's cleared Gary Beggs for third place, and he's setting off now after the two M3s up front of Berwick Linton and Steve Ellery. And there's the two M3s, and there's the M4. And there's Beggs in the Commodore. Symes in the first of the Mitsubishi Evos. Gourley and Harris, the other two Evos. Chased by Camilleri in the Mazda Turbo. And then we have the first of the Toyota 86's, Mitch Madron. In the meantime, James Hay and Andrew Wilton fighting for position. Hay's got in front of Wilton. The Scirocco is looking to get his way up through the order. Symes just coming down the straight. There's the Evos running roughly together. Gourley ahead of Harris, followed by Camilleri. We're back towards the front of the field. There's Linton, race leader, with Ellery behind. There's about a second and a half between the two Linton prepared and run BMWs. Now how's the gap back to Carl Begg? The gap has actually gone out this time. I think the radio message went out to the M3s to drop the lap times because both Linton and Ellery jumped into 19.9 minute lap times. In fact, Ellery has, Harris has gotten Gourley. There we see on camera, and John Harris has gotten through Robert Gourley, so a change in the running order of the Mitsubishi Evos back to the M3s. Well, there they go. Coming into sight here at turn 6 now. Berwick Linton leading Stephen Ellery. And there's Carl Begg in third place. So the lap times now, Bruce, Berwick Linton are 19.6. Ellery at 19.9, Carl Begg at 20.6. So the momentum has swung in the other direction as Symes goes by, currently fifth place, chasing after Gary Beggs. And there's the other two Mitsubishi Evos, Harris, Gourley, followed by Camilleri in 8th place. Then Madron coming up to the line now in the Toyota 86. Oh, someone's having dramas over there at turn 6. That was John Spalding, who's been blowing smoke regularly throughout the weekend. Might have a rubbing tyre in the right rear corner of his HSV GTS. Meanwhile, there's Mitsubishi Evos on screen. Harris being chased by Gourley. John Harris is 6th. Robert Gourley is 7th in the Ultimate Diesel Tuning Mitsubishi Lancer Evo. And not far behind them is Jake Camilleri. They're all running in minute 24 lap times. James Hay in the midst of battle there with Andrew Wilton in the 86 shop Toyota. Meanwhile, back to our race leaders. They're going through turn 1. Now there's Damien Drew, the birthday boy, the white and blue BMW, and he's currently racing with Murray Riley as they head down the back straight. Riley dives underneath Drew for position. These two are fighting over 19th place. They're not in the same class. Damien Drew's a leader of Class E, whereas Riley's down the grid somewhat in Class D. But they're having a tremendous scrap for position nonetheless. The Toyota is slightly faster than the BMW. Just another example of cars that are running very closely together. And here's our race leader, Beric Linton. He's just gone past Adam Talbot's Mazda 6. And there goes past Riley, past Drew. And Riley's taking the opportunity, bomb dive, got him. So Murray Riley took the path forged by Beric Linton to get past Damien Drew. Here's Steve Ellery at the same time, and they cross down the front straight together. Riley stays in front of Drew. There's Talbot. And Carl Begg in third place. Move across to pick up Beric Linton once more. Onto the back straight at Queensland Raceway, heading for turn 3. Now, Linton's coming up on, he's coming up on Anthony Levitt in the Renault Clio. There he goes. Anthony Levitt's had a dreadful day, unfortunately. Winning the spare car in the final race of the day after the primary car, the big Mercedes V8 had transmission go south on him. We got to the spare car, which was made vacant because Todd O'Brien was unfortunately unable to complete racing after he's hurt himself at the same time. So I allowed Levitt to take over the Clio, and he's still out there on the circuit. So the 3 BMW turbos at the front of the field screen past the start-finish line. Oh, hello. A bit of a brake lock up there from Paul Bacchini, it looked like, over at turn 3. Nothing untoward. We go back to, here's another position battle going on. It's Paul Keffer there in the bronze and blue Volkswagen Scirocco. And Keffer's being chased here by Murray Dowsett in the Subaru BRZ. They're fighting over 16th position right at the moment as our race leader goes by. Look at those brake discs glowing in the night. Gives you an idea of the sort of temperatures the brakes are running in these turbocharged BMWs at the front of the field, the stars of Class X. Looking over at turn 3 and the approach to turn 6, there's Greg Symes being chased by the Evo of John Harris and Bob Gurley. Now we're back with, this is Murray Riley, 47, and it's about to be lapped there by Gary Beggs, who's in 4th place, the number 41 Commodore. Race 1 didn't go all that well for Gary. They miscalculated the amount of fuel needed to finish the race and ended up being 2 laps short. Don't have a lot of competition in the A2 class this weekend, although John Spaulding is out there on the track in the HSV GTS. Now, there's James Hay in the first of the Volkswagen Scirocco's, currently 11th. Hay chasing after the 2 Toyota 86s of Mitch Madron and Andrew Wilton. Wilton won Class C in race 1, but Madron struck back in race 2, so it's all on for Class C honours in the final race of the day. Although, the moment I say that, I should say Class D honours. Class C has been led all weekend by Jake Camilleri in the Mazda Turbo. And there's our 2 race leaders once more. Linton and Ellery going through turn 1. And there's Carl Begg, who's just coming up to lap Carly Bacchini, the pink and black BMW Fleet Images team, with her father, Paul. Currently, Paul Bacchini is 14th, Carly Bacchini is 15th, although there's quite a gap between the two of them there. In fact, the race leader is between them as well. There he is. Barrick Linton has been serene, supreme at the front of the field since, well, I say that Carl Begg led pretty much most of race 1 until the B-tuned BMW M4 went into limp mode, depriving him of a much-deserved race victory. Race 2 went even less well for Carl. And the first of our pitters has come and gone. So 35-minute race, this one, to complete the weekend. "15 minutes completed, 20 to go. And we are on lap 11. Now here's Adam Talbot, our reigning series champion. He's about to be lapped by Jake Camilleri in the Grand Prix Mazda 3 MPS. There he goes. Camilleri's holding 8th place at the moment, leader of Class C. Chasing after the 3 Class A1 Mitsubishi Evos. Now Carl Begg here in 3rd place in the B-tuned BMW M4, heading up the lakes, heading up the hangar straight towards Hertz. Oh, car off at turn 6. Car off at turn 6. Just trying to pick up who that car. In fact, 2 cars are off at turn 6. I think Paul Bacchini has regained the circuit, but we've got another car off on the outside of turn 6. I'm just trying to pick up who that might be, who's parked it actually on the exit of turn 6, as another one of our pitters is in the lane. Now, are we going to see a clamp down for Olo? Car's going again. Is that Robert Gourley? No, it isn't. Ah, that's the Renault Clio of Anthony Levitt, who was in strife there over on the outside of turn 6. But both the cars that went off there at turn 6 have regained the circuit and are back in action again. So there's the race leader, Linton. Oh, big blow up over there. It's Ellery. Ellery is drawing a huge cloud of... No, it's not Ellery. Sorry, that's Spalding. John Spalding in the HSV GTS. Well, he's been dragging a bit of smoke behind the car pretty much all weekend. Just on and off, but it's been getting worse. And now it looks like, I think the HSV is done for this race. One of the front runners is in the pits doing its compulsory pit stop. It's Ellery. Pit stop completed, and Steve Ellery is heading towards pit out. So we'll see how the slots back into the action once more. There's Ellery resuming. Now, by past experience, these compulsory pit stops pretty much translate to a little bit over 1 lap lost. Oh, Ellery's not coming up to speed quickly. Something's amiss with the Chalgrove Contracting BMW. There's Linton, our race leader. So Carl Begg is now up into 2nd place. Now just looking to, oh, hello, that's smoke cloud. I think that might be Spalding that's on the screen just there again. Bacchini. Now Linton's just crossing the stripe, completing another lap. Linton has lapped Mitch Madron's Toyota 86. That's how far up the field he's gotten. Oh, we've got a car coasting in to retire. It looks like it's Spalding. We'll see there's the 86 shop, Toyota 86 of Andrew Wilton heading up the back straight. Wilton's currently 9th on the road, second in Class D, chasing after Mitch Madron. The other Toyota 86. Yeah, here we see. Yeah, okay, I'm pretty sure Spalding's Commodore is not going to continue. He's pulling into the lane, back end of the car wreathed in smoke. So that's a massive shame for the Luke Spalding Racing and HSV GDS. Crew waving as he pulls up into the bay. We'll see if they can get the HSV repaired and back into the race once more. So Ellery, the only one of the front runners who's pitted so far. Here's Dave Homer, who's one of our Class D runners. He's currently 3rd in class. Oop. And it looks like Spalding's Commodore was being sent straight out the back of the pits and will come and we'll take no for. Oh yeah, the car just travelling past our commentary position, and yeah, the car sounds far from good. It doesn't sound like it's travelling on all 8 cylinders. It's McHugh in the Suzuki Swift Sport. Now there's Gary Beggs in the Commodore, who's now holding 3rd place. And there's Greg Symes in the Mitsubishi Lancer, who's 4th. John Harris, the all-white Lancer, in 5th position. So just running through the running order at the moment as Barrick Linton comes around to, actually that's Talbot in the Mazda 6 who's just crossed the line. Here comes Linton. Oh, the gap has come down. No, actually the gap has increased slightly. Barrick Linton now has a 15-second lead over Carl Begg. And it's about 30 seconds back to Gary Beggs in the Commodore in 3rd place. Here's Greg Symes in the Symes Coaches Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 10. Just getting past McHugh's Suzuki Swift Sport. And we've got another car in the lane doing its compulsory pit stop. Looks like it's might be one of the Scirocco's actually. Hard to pick up just at the moment. Symes, Harris and Gurley just crossing the start-finish line to complete lap 16. 22 minutes of this race completed, 12 remaining. 35 minutes elapsed. Well, this is a 35-minute race, and everyone. There's Riley, the number 47 to Subaru BRZ, I should say, who's up in 17th position now. Talbot, currently running 19th in class and 3rd in Class E. So Linton and Begg have gone by to complete lap 17. Now I see here is Jake Camilleri. He's being chased here by, no, not in the same class. Symes just going past in the other direction. There's Harris, the all-white Lancer. Coming down the Dick Johnson straight there, Symes ahead of Gooley and Harris. Symes, no, actually there's Gooley's behind Harris. Another car coming into pit lane. Now after his pit stop, Steve Ellery is now in 12th position, fighting his way back up through the running order. Now that's Paul Baccini who's just coming into the pits for his pit stop. Baccini entered the pits in about 14th position. Now looking back towards the front of the field. Oh, okay, here's there was Riley and Damien Drew. Now onto the back straight. That's Kaffer in the Scirocco being overtaken by our race leader, Beric Linton. Now I'm just wondering where Carl Begg is as Linton goes by there. It's getting harder and harder as the light goes away to keep the cameras in focus. We're less than 10 minutes remaining in this 35-minute race. That distinctive popping sound you might have heard over the mics just then, there's one of the Mitsubishi Evos. They have a tendency to have a fairly loud backfiring noise. Just a bit of unburnt fuel getting through to the end of the exhaust pipes and igniting. So Linton's just crossed the start-finish line ahead of Begg. Carl Begg still waiting to come around. 16.1 seconds. The gap is starting to come down again, but only by tenths of a second. So at the moment, and I say at the moment, the race is Linton's to lose. But things can change very rapidly as we look across at Linton over at turn 3. The distinctive pink car over there of Carly Baccini about to be lapped there by, it looks like, Camilleri. And there's Carl Begg, the distinctive bronze, white and black BMW M4. So that's the gap from first to second. There's Linton heading up the hanger straight towards turn 6. Coming around turn 6 onto the Dick Johnson straight. So Linton, our race leader, completes lap 20. Now there's the lap traffic mentioned before. Camilleri, Carly Baccini, Keffer it is in the Scirocco, and there's Carl Begg's M4. So it's out to 18 seconds. So now it's starting to look like so we go back to Linton, our race leader. Linton is actually coming up to lap Gary Beggs, would you believe, who's in third place. This is the pace that Beric Linton's setting. 1:19.6 last time around, and fastest lap of the race for Beric Linton, actually, as he continues to charge. He's not giving Carl Begg any hope at all. Now the car's pulled into pit lane there. It looks like Dowsett in the Subaru BRZ is pulled up. Distinctive silver fern patterning on the front bonnet. Car number 11. Well, there's Linton, our race leader. And I think that's big. Oh, car off at turn 3. Oops. And spinner, and the car has spun around as well. It's all getting a bit Steve McQueen Le Mans right at the moment. We try to pick out the car that's parked over at turn 3. Oh, I think there might be Gary Beggs who was in 3rd place. So we have gone clamp down. We have gone clamp down for the car that's parked over at turn 3. Looking across at Adam Talbot at the moment. And there's Robert Gourley's Mitsubishi Lancer just ahead. Greg Symes, Mitsubishi, just coming into sight there. Dave Homer behind him in the Ford Fiesta. Homer is currently in 12th place and 3rd in Class D. That's probably about where Homer expected to finish, I think. He's just doesn't quite have the pace of Madron and Wilton in their Toyota 86s. But he's ahead of all the other Subarus and 86s in the field. Class D dominated by the Toyota 86s and Subaru BRZs. Now, I don't think that's actually Gary Beggs who's parked over in turn 3. I'm wondering now, actually, if that might be John Spaulding who has come back out. Because they're dark blue HSV GTS. The Luke Spaulding racing entry has been, thought I saw the car being sent out the back of the pits, but I think they may have re-emerged. Currently 9 laps down, Spaulding, and 21st running. Now there was a car. So Gary Beggs is certainly still on track. So he's just travelled past us in the number 41 car. Still in 3rd position. So I think that might be Spaulding who's parked over in turn 3. Car is about to be plucked up onto the tilt tray. Okay, there's some drama going on down in the pits as well. Oh, okay, that will be the unfortunate car has been returned to the pits, and we are back racing again. So Linton leads from Begg. Then Beggs, Symes, Harris, Gourley, Camilleri, Madron, Wilton and James Hay in the Scirocco, completing the top 10. Now that was one of the 2 leading BMWs. Oh, well, I say leading, because Ellery, of course, has made a pit stop. That's Gary Beggs heading towards turn 1. There's Greg Symes in pursuit. Now this brief clamp down, well, we actually see that Greg Symes has been closing on Gary Beggs for some time. I think Symes might have snuck up slightly on Beggs during the course of the clamp down. Here's one of our race, one of the Linton BMWs. I believe this will be Barrick, our race leader. So looking across at turn 2, no, we're going to pick up this fight that's going on in turn 5. And there's John Harris in the white Mitsubishi Lancer, and he's actually got Carl Begg approaching from behind. Now they're not on the same lap, of course. Carl will be coming up to lap Harris. There they go. And down towards turn 1, so Carl Begg sticks up the inside of Harris. Harris was aware, and hello. We've got a car that's chasing after Carl Begg, doing very similar times right at the moment. Carl Begg's dropped down the order. Okay, he's dropped down to 5th place. Maybe he hasn't fallen far enough down the field. Got a car slowing on the back straight. And stopped over on the entrance to the dipper. Can't quite pick out who that is right at the moment. Yeah, we've lost. There's not really enough light for the... Oh, hello, the car has been rebooted. Oh, I'm wondering if that's Carl Begg. I think that might be Carl Begg, who's stopped and possibly had to reboot the car. Get a better view as he comes out of turn 3 now. And that will explain why he's dropped a bunch of positions. It does look like the B-tuned BMW M4. Currently chasing after Jake Camilleri here in the Mazda Turbo. Mazda 3 MPS. And yep, there's Carl Begg. So Carl twice has had the car slow on him. Oh, hello. Some large amount of smoke going on over there at turn 6. Well, Begg and Camilleri have just come past. I think that might be just some remnant smoke from some earlier incidents. Checkered flag is out, and Barrick Linton has taken victory. Oh, a fabulous race victory there in the Class X BMW M3 Turbo. We're still waiting on second place car to come around of Gary Beggs. Linton has won this race by over a minute. There goes Gary Beggs, and the Commodore has taken second place. Greg Symes is coming around, and he will be the last car in the lead lap in third in the Symes Coaches Mitsubishi Lancer. Still waiting for Symes to come around. Oh, there he goes. He's crossed the line now. So Barrick Linton has taken victory ahead of Gary Beggs and then Greg Symes. Fourth place has gone to John Harris, a lap down in the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo. Robert Gooley has finished 5th in the Ultimate Diesel Tuning Mitsubishi Lancer Turbo. Then Carl Begg in the end has ended up in 6th place. Camilleri 7th in the Mazda. Then Mitch Madron in the Toyota 86 has won Class D by not very much over Andrew Wilton in the end. They're 8th and 9th. Steve Ellery in the Chalgrove Contracting BMW has finished 10th at the end of that one after, well, Ellery's finished 25 laps compared to Linton's 26, our race winner. James Hay has come home in 11th ahead of David Homer, Carly Bacchini, Paul Kiefer, Damien Drew, Murray Riley, Adam Talbot, Steve McHugh and Paul Bacchini is last car home in 19th position. So just running through the classes then, Class X was won by Beric Linton in the BMW M3, ahead of Carl Begg in the BMW M4 and Steve Ellery in the BMW M3. A2 has beaten A1. Gary Beggs has had a fantastic finish in the big V8 Commodore and wins Class A2. Well, and only A2 car to get to the finish with Spalding falling out of the race. Greg Symes has won Class A1 in the Symes Coaches Mitsubishi Lancer ahead of the similar Lancers of John Harris and Robert Gooley. Class C was won by Jake Camilleri in the Mazda 3 MPS. James Hay was second in Class C in the Volkswagen Scirocco. Carly Bacchini was third ahead of Paul Kiefer. Then Paul Bacchini fourth in Class C. Class D was won by Mitch Madron ahead of Andrew Wilton. David Homer was third in Class D. Murray Riley home fourth in Class D, and he was the last to finish because in the end it was Murray Dowsett, I believe, who was the car that was parked over in turn 3 about 4 or 5 laps ago. Looks like, yeah, Dowsett's had problems in the number 11 Toyota 86. And the final class, and the birthday boy has won Class E. Damien Drew, who came home in 15th position, has won Class E ahead of Adam Talbot and Steve McHugh. And that, thanks to motorsportsales.com.au. Also Be Tuned, Corona Cabinets and Ultimate Diesel Tuning was the opening round of the Queensland Production Car Series. And it's been a very successful day for Beric Linton. 3 starts, 3 wins. And he will win Class X for the day as well. Well, thanks everyone for being for tuning in and being here at Queensland Raceway, and on behalf of everyone at the MTR Images team, hope to see you again very shortly at the next motor racing opportunity in Southeast Queensland. Thanks for your attention, and thanks of course to Queensland Production Cars and also to the EFS 4x4 Accessories XL Cup.